Once again, welcome everybody to News and Views on Studio One TV at the Marshall Cable Station. We've been talking about a fair amount of things lately, all what's happening, what's making Marshall a better place to live in. And I think that's all working quite well. And one of the good problems that come along with it is the infrastructure of our city, because all of a sudden we're handling a lot more traffic, we're handling a lot bigger traffic, and we got maybe good problems with it. And here to explain some of them that are going on is Glenn Olson, our city engineer of many years, who's on top of all of this stuff, and he's here to enlighten us on some of this stuff. The two major ones that we want to talk about, and we'll get into those right away, would be what's going on with Saratoga at 23, and then the big one, North 7th Street. That's got to be a fun one to talk about. We'll find out what's going on with those projects, the timelines, the detours, and all of that stuff. So, Glenn, welcome.
Well, thank you, Bill. There is a lot of construction going on this year, fairly major projects. And for the public to know, make sure that the public is aware that they can go on our website any time they want to and take a look at what the construction projects are and what their projects progress is. So first of all, the Saratoga Street project, a wonderful project that we had last year, got the pedestrian overpass installed. But what happened was when they set the big beams, the concrete that the crane was on broke. And so the contractor is in replacing those concrete sections that are broken.
Is this the concrete where
on the paving itself, on the roadway itself.
Okay.
Right at the intersection where the big crane was sitting to set those beams is where the breaking was. So what the contractor has to do, and this is at their expense, so just so people understand too, we're not going to be paying for it twice. They have to come in, set up their traffic control, move traffic off those areas, take out the concrete that's there that is broken and replace it. And of course you can't open it up to traffic the next day. It takes at least a week of cure time, and sometimes in the case of the multiple pours, it's going to take at least a couple of weeks to get that back in operation again. So hopefully, weather permitting, and I want to make sure that people understand that weather permitting, we'll go for every project we talk about today. Because, you know, a week ago we had snow on the ground, and yesterday it was 90 degrees.
Yes.
So, you know, and then you have rain and you have delays and things like that. So, but weather permitting, we should be done with that intersection on or about the Memorial Day weekend. So
okay.
hopefully they can get in and get the project done and get out. Also, you know, we didn't get done with everything we wanted to on that project last fall. We still have some landscaping work, we have some drainage work, and to get the drainage work done, it has to be dry enough to redo some grading. So it's not that, well, we haven't had rain now for some time. Well, no, we haven't, but we want to make sure that it's dry enough to work in that area as well. So those are the two major things at Saratoga and Trunk Highway 23 is the replacement concrete work and the landscaping work that still has to be done.
Okay, that sounds like an interesting project, but if weather cooperates, it should move rather smoothly. A couple weeks, we're out of it.
Right. Yeah, it'll be probably the next 3 weeks for the construction work and then some cure time.
Okay, sounds good. So Saratoga Street, 23 intersection. It's going to be not confusing, but perhaps disturbing for a couple of weeks. We'll get over it.
Yeah.
We got to remember in Minnesota, we got 3 months to get 9 months worth of construction work done.
Yes, we do.
You know, so all right, let's talk about North 7th Street. That's a big one.
North 7th Street is a big project. We have it's a commercial industrial zone that has big operations going on that street every day, and I'm talking about ADM for the corn plant and bean processing.
We should probably refresh everybody's memory, North 7th Street, commonly known as the dump road.
That's right, the compost road or the
Yep.
dump road. But that project goes from Kossuth Avenue, which is if you go past the water tower on the north side, up by the street department, and you go over to North 7th Street, from that intersection north all the way to County Road 33.
Okay.
Will be under construction. And there's two major projects going on, even on that one project. There's a water main replacement project going on as a separate contract that will be done on the west side of about half of the roadway. And then there'll be the full street reconstruction from just north of the bridge all the way to the north end of the project at County Road 33. The other major users we have there too are Flint Hills with the oil facility, and Dunnick Brothers, who has the asphalt facility. Those are the major users, but I would believe that 60 to 70% of the people in Marshall use that roadway at one time or another during the summer for grass clippings, for tree and brush removal, for that type of use. It's not that you have to live alongside that street. We all use it.
Yeah.
And it's also a major access point for a lot of the people coming in and out of town. So that one will be closed for an extended period of time, but we plan to get it complete before harvest. That's a real important item, is getting that done before harvest. You've seen in the last couple of weeks, ADM has hauled the corn piles, or they're in the process of hauling the corn piles out. Mm-hmm. They not only have the plant on the north side of 23, they also are north side of County Road 33, but they also have the elevator that's located on Fairview Street. Yeah. So that's a major route for them to haul grains in and out of the area. So that's North 7th Street, and the Marshall Municipal Utilities also has a water main replacement project going on Trunk Highway 59, just north of, in the Ace Hardware area, up to just north of Fairview Street. So you'll see activity there, but it's going to be behind the curb. It will, you want to make sure you slow down for the construction working, but we won't be closing that street unless something unforeseen happens. So Trunk Highway 59 will be open, but there'll be major construction going on the east side of 59. Same contractor doing the work on North 7th Street.
Okay, all right. Well, sounds like an interesting and well-needed project. The industrial traffic and commercial traffic on North 7th Street, since I've moved to Marshall way back in 1969, has really doubled, tripled, bigger, heavier.
Bigger, heavier loads. Yeah. And you can see it needs to be done.
Yes.
If you've driven on the roadway, you can see that the surfacing has failed. We did core the roadway to see if it was just the top surface, but it's all the way through the roadway thickness.
In the few remaining minutes that we have in this segment of the show, because we're going to bring in Preston Stensrud also to talk about the parks and system in Marshall, what other projects you got on the burner?
We have so much going on. Trunk Highway 68 will be a major construction project that there will be delays during that project to the traffic coming into town on a daily basis for, we have a lot of commuters, but we are installing a new intersection at Pacific Avenue, just on the west side of the industrial park, that's identical to the one that we put in on Lake Road 2 years ago.
Okay.
Excuse me. So that will be, there could be 10-minute delays along there. Make sure you know what's going on in that area. If there's a backup of traffic, traffic can go down County Road 33. So if you see a major backup happening on that area, take a different route if you can.
Okay.
So that'll be a major one. Also, we have the Commerce Industrial Park. We've already bid the new extension of Michigan Road out in that area that connects to the road the intersection I just talked about. That one, we're waiting for the legislature to complete their session on bonding. We have applied for, it's a deed grant, it's called, and whether or not that funding gets approved will determine how we award and go forward with that project. We also have a lot of miscellaneous projects going on around the city. We have the completion of the Independence Park pond cleanout. That's still got to be completed. Right now, they're working on the Majestic Pond cleanout down in Carr Estates. We have to complete some more improvements at the Independence Park area. That concrete around the shelter area needs to be completed. We've got the bike path is a major project.
Yes.
That project was 14.87 miles all the way from the high school to Camden State Park, and we're now completing the last 4,500 feet of that goes past the golf course and the fairgrounds area.
Yes.
So a major cooperative effort between the county and the city and the park systems, DNR, for getting that project complete. So really some major work going on in town. We don't have a backhoe on every corner, but it's one of those things where there's a lot of construction. And like you said, it's really related to a narrow construction window of time to get these projects complete. We have carryover, we have new.
Yes.
Hopefully, if people want to know more, they can give us a call anytime at city office. We would certainly let them know what's going on.
Yeah. So there's going to be a lot of orange equipment and vests and everything
orange equipment
around the area. So, well, you got a busy summer.
Yes, we do.
And along with that, you also do some projects with Preston in the Parks Department. So, and we'll be talking to Preston very shortly. So, Glenn, I want to thank you for informing us. Yeah. Once again, we can find all this on the City Marshal's website.
Yes.
Are there maps there too?
There's maps and there's all the information under the construction portion of our website.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Yep. Well, we just heard from Glenn Olson, city engineer, what we're going to have to put up with for road construction. So the next few months, we're going to be pretty busy dodging orange cones and people on big equipment and taking some detours, but we'll get through it and it'll all be much better when it's all said and done. Well, now we've got Preston Stensrud with us, and Preston's going to bring us up to date on a few things too. We talked a little bit on a previous show, not a little bit, we talked a lot about the sports complex, or what's commonly known as Marsh. Everybody didn't realize that the ice arena is part of Marsh, and Marsh is a big project. It's an acronym for Marshall Athletic Regional Sports Hub. And inside there, we got soccer fields, we got baseball fields, softball fields, we got the ice arena, we got a lot of things. And then there's one guy that's kind of in charge of making sure it all keeps up to date and looks good and everything else, and that's Preston Stensrud. So with the amateur sports complex and with the new ball fields, I think that's probably going to be a pretty heavily used area this year. Maybe you can enlighten us on some of this stuff.
Yep, certainly. Well, thanks for having me, Bill.
Sure.
Yeah, so we'll just kind of go through an update on the new ball fields, the amateur sports complex. We're getting phone calls, emails, questions daily. So progress as it stands today, we're pouring concrete this afternoon yet. The electrician's out there pulling wires to the light towers, wiring up the scoreboards. We drilled the hole for the flagpole this morning. So we're making progress that way. There's a lot of concrete to be poured yet. It's very crucial that we stay off that concrete for the proper cure time of somewhere 10 to 12 days. Once that's finished, my staff will be able to get in there, and we have 70 pallets of pavers to lay. We have all the irrigation to finish, and then we need to till and seed the whole site. So it's going to take some time yet, even after all the concrete's done. We're kind of anticipating, weather permitting, somewhere June 15th is a kind of a hopeful date for maybe switching over from the old complex to the new complex. But we do want to make sure that we are 100% done. We have everything how we want it. The grass is growing, so we're not tracking mud everywhere, stuff like that before we let anybody out there. Inside the fence lines of the fields is pretty well done. The grass is growing. We fertilized yesterday. We're going to be starting the irrigation back up. There's some fencing stuff to fix, and then we have a lot of edging and just some fine grading to do. But we'll be able to do all that with our city staff.
You talk about irrigation. Is that part of the system where Harry Wyloggy was on a couple weeks ago, and he talked about the fields being able to take 2 inches of rain, and 2 hours later you're able to play?
Yep.
Does irrigation fit into that? Kind of the same thing like up at the Target Field?
Yep. We have the infields out at the Answer Sports Complex are tiled. There's tile every 20 feet on center running diagonally across the fields, and then all the warning track is tiled. On top of that, we did do a special sand soil mix that the grass is growing on that allows quicker drainage, as well as the grading of the playing surface allows all the water to shed to the outside where we can get it to those tiles. So it's going to be much better than any of our existing fields because of our existing fields lack the tile lines and stuff to get the water out of the fields. So as far as how much it can take and how fast, time will tell till when we're out there and we can see how it goes.
We know what you're told, but does it do what it's supposed to do?
Right,
That's
exactly.
always the key question on this
Exactly.
stuff. And, judging by all the other fields that we've got in Marshall and the care that they receive, you guys can't be too far off on that.
Yep.
So once again, the hoped for completion date.
Shooting for June 15th, somewhere around there at least. I mean, not exactly June 15th,
Middle of June,
but right
first
in there.
part of July.
July, yep. Originally we were kind of hoping for June 1st, and then, last week we had that nice white stuff on the ground, and we lost a whole week of pouring concrete and stuff like that, which then pushes everything else back. So
Okay.
we can't control Mother Nature, so we're working at it the best and fastest we can to get it done properly, and it's definitely going to be a first-class facility
Well,
when it's complete.
Like I say, judging by all the other facilities we've got in town, I don't think we have to worry about that. You and your crew will do a good job taking care of that. All right, what else can we bring people up to date on?
I think just a couple things that people are wondering about out there, not so much construction-wise, but kind of what's not going to be done out there, and we're getting the questions, who's going to be able to play out there, and what age groups are going to be able to play out there. Is my son going to be able to play out there? Is my daughter going to be able to play out there? And so on. So we have 2 fields that are lit currently. All the conduits are in, and we have all the electrical panels in the building to be able to light the south 2 fields closest to Highway 19. However, at this point we held off just due to a cost factor. It's going to be, to light those 2 fields is going to be $250,000 roughly. We're going to need, we're still won't have a shelter house out there. We're going to be looking to do a playground out there, some arches to tie into some of our other park stuff like at Memorial Park, and Legion has an arch now, and Liberty Park has the arch, so kind of tie that theme together.
Let me try to throw a curve at you. Food truck.
Yep, that's we were actually working on it today as far as mounting the equipment in the food truck. That will be positioned out there on the west side or southwest side of the building. We did that to save money instead of putting fire suppression and a hood in, like for a full kitchen in the building. We went through that in the arena, and it's very costly. It made much more sense in the arena. We're using it 12 months out of the year. So, the food truck was about 1/10 of the cost of putting that into the building itself.
So you
and then
got the
had to
food
winterize
truck,
it, so.
the food truck and the portable stage.
Yep.
We can take Marshall on the road.
That's right.
Hey. And guess who they're going to be looking at?
Yeah,
They're going to be looking
exactly.
at
So-
you to make sure that gets that done. That's
Exactly.
interesting, exciting.
Yep. It's a very nice looking trailer. We'll have to. It's definitely something to show off. I mean, it's all stainless inside. It's got the 3 bay sinks, hot water heater. It's air conditioned. It's heated. It's
Wow.
got the whole works.
Yeah.
There's going to be fryers in there, flat irons. Yeah, like I said, it's kind of like a camper, but just a big kitchen.
Yeah.
So.
Maybe we'll hit diners, drive-ins, and dives.
So yeah, so on that, and then to touch base kind of on the age groups for out the new ball fields. The fence lines are 300 feet. All 4 fields are the same. Egg lime infield. So we'll be able to do baseball up to 13 years old. They're 75-foot bases, and all ages and groups of softball, whether it's fast pitch, slow pitch, men, co-ed, women, kids, doesn't matter. We'll be able to do all softball. So we did what we could to fit in that area and cover the broadest group of people that we could.
Certainly.
So really the only thing we can't is high school baseball and up.
Okay.
And if we had done that out there, we'd only had 2 fields instead of 4.
Yeah.
Because of the long fence lines. Other things, I touched on the 2 versus 4, why we lit 2 versus 4 and the playground and stuff. So yeah, I think we're kind of up to speed.
Let's
on
kind of
it.
back up a little bit. You're going to have the 4 fields out there. We've got, 4 more fields around on 23.
Yep.
So we got 8 fields that are available. They all handle the same age bracket.
Some vary a little bit. Like the old complex, yes, would be the same age bracket. Independence, the 2 fields there. We can include the high school baseball into that with the
Okay.
90-foot bases. Your Justice and Freedom and Little Legion and Patriot Parks, those are, each one's a little bit different, but covers usually to 75-foot bases.
Okay.
And we plan on maintaining all those, and we're even planning on maintaining the old complex for throughout the summer, even once we switch. I think the demand is there on the field usage. We got people that are interested in using it, and it'll help expand their program, and I think that's good for Marshall. And
Yeah,
we already have
certainly
the
is.
facility there.
Certainly
So.
is. So with those number of fields, how big of a tournament can we hold on a weekend? Any idea? 16 teams?
Oh, easily.
Okay.
I think the state tournament, I could be wrong on this, but the state tournament we're holding for baseball at the end of July, I want to say there's 30 or 32 teams. And we're going to be utilizing Independence, the 4 new fields, and 2 of the old fields out the complex. So we'll be using 8 fields
Okay.
just for a tournament.
Already we got a state tournament coming to town.
Yep.
Get
The last weekend
fields
in
done.
July. So.
Yeah, you got a big job in front of you.
Yep.
So, all right. Anything else you want to touch on?
No, out there, I think, that should bring everybody up to speed. Just a couple other projects going on, not so much out there, but in the parks. I think Glenn touched on Independence. We were also pouring concrete there this morning around the shelter house. The new pier is here, is being stored at the parks up by the pool there. It's floating. We got it through a DNR grant. It's going to be very nice when it's done. We're going to have concrete path going down to it. And we should eliminate all that heaving that we had on the old one from the ice shifting when the ice freeze thaw. Pool, we're putting new diving boards in. We poured concrete there this morning too, so it was a concrete day. So
Yeah.
other projects would be getting the seeding done and stuff around the pond, and then I think we'll be doing the landscaping out at the liquor store too, and finishing that irrigation and stuff
Okay.
too.
Ooh, you do have a busy summer lined up for you.
Yes, we do.
We got a lot of things going on in the community. We've said it 100 times, and we'll say it 100 times more. And we're fortunate. We live in a community that has a lot of things going for it, and be grateful we got guys like Preston who takes pride in their work and make sure that everything's up to snuff. Marshall's always prided themselves in the park system that we've had, and we've always bragged about it to our friends and relatives when they come and visit. Well, it's bigger and it's better thanks to guys like Preston. So Preston, I want to thank you for taking the time out to come
Thanks
and
for
bring
having
us
me.
up to date on everything.
Yep.
And maybe we'll call on you again before the summer's over, just to give a fact check on where you're going.
Right.
Unfortunately, you're at the mercy of the weather, but we'll, we got that state tournament, baseball tournament in when?
Last weekend of July.
At least that's the big one we got to shoot for.
Yep.
So, all right, that should take care of everything today.
Right.
I want to thank everybody for tuning in to another issue of Marshall News and Views. We got another show coming up too in next week sometime, when we've got a longtime Marshall athlete, resident business person, Rafson Byreth Rignell is going to be on, and she's going to talk about some good topics too, and just continue to let you know what a good community you're living in. So with that in mind, remember, you can catch us on Facebook. You can catch us on the Marshall, excuse me, the Marshall website. Watch all the past issues if you missed them, and trust me, you don't want to miss any of them. But they're available for you. So tell your friends, tell your family out west, out east, up north, wherever they're at, they can tune into those websites too and watch the shows just to see what's going on. So with that, thank you for watching, and we'll get ready for another version of Marshall News and Views.